Okay, so you guys know, if you know me, which I think most of you do, you know that I have struggled in my fitness journey. I have hypothyroid and I'm insulin resistant. I have PCOS. So I have a couple of hormonal disorders, which, like, seriously, the solution for one works against the solution or works against the other problem. So it has been like years of playing with things and trying to figure out like what the heck the right strategy can be for me. So in my travels and in my journey, I have I've had to develop a lot of strategies, like a lot of coping strategies. I seriously feel like I have to eat 10 times better than the average person to not be obese. And I feel like, and I definitely absolutely need a higher volume of work in terms of my workouts in order to stay lean. I did have a doctor at some, like, they had a hard time diagnosing me because I'm not obese. And typically women in my position present as obese, right? And so I had a hard time getting a diagnosis. And I went back to my doctor after. I was just like I just keep gaining weight. And he's like, well, with your hormonal profile, like, you should just be happy that you're not obese. And I was just like, I was pissed. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about like kicking off 2016, making it like the best year of your life in terms of fitness. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many babies you have had. You can have the best body of your entire freaking life next year. And that's what I'm going for. I'm going to be 32 next year, and I'm going to like blow away my fitness in every and any other year of my life. That is my plan, and I so want to take you guys with me. Okay, so first I'm going to talk a little bit about like the touchy-feely sort of aspect of weight loss, like the emotional side of things. I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to talk about like my best strategies. So number one, and this is the thing that gets most people, and like this is the reason most people don't stay on track, is because they lose motivation, right? Losing motivation. And what I've come to realize is that motivation, like the whole concept and idea of motivation is a myth, and it's bad for you. Like, it's bad for you to think that you need to be motivated in order to work out or eat well or whatever else. Because as Tony Robbins teaches, emotion follows motion. So if you do the right things for long enough and you like white knuckle it and it's really hard, if you're using a strategy that's healthy for your body, I'm not talking about like HCG diet where you're eating 500 calories a day. I'm talking about something that's actually good for your body. Your motivation is going to follow your behavior, right? That's compounded by the fact that food has a very hormonal effect on your body. People don't realize that even if you don't have a hormonal disorder, like food really impacts your mood. It can really impact your mood. It can really impact the amount of motivation you feel, right? And, just in terms of energy and everything else, if you're eating poor quality food, it is impacting your hormones, and you're not going to have the energy that you could have. And if you don't have energy, then are you going to be motivated? No, of course not, right? So emotion follows motion. Number one, like the whole like idea of being motivated needs to kind of go out the window for you. So try a little exercise with me. So close your eyes for a second, for real. Close your eyes for a second. And then in your mind, you're walking. Anthea, close your eyes. And then in your mind, you walk up to like a 5-foot tall brick wall. Okay, it's about 5 feet tall. Now, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Janice. So there's this 5-foot tall brick wall in front of you. Now try really hard to push it over. Try hard to push it over. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, Shake it out. Close your eyes again. Close your eyes again. You're walking up to the same 5-foot tall brick wall. Push the damn thing over. Okay? Now open your eyes. Most people in the first scenario are expending a lot of mental energy trying to push the brick wall over. And when I told you just freaking do it, did you do it in your mind? Did you push over the brick wall? Yeah. So you actually expend more energy trying to do something than actually just doing it. Okay? So if in your mind it's a non-negotiable, you are not going to eat peanut M&Ms, right? You're going to follow the 21-day fix plan as prescribed, or hammer and chisel, or whatever it is, right? You're going to follow it. It's a non-negotiable. It doesn't matter what feelings happen. You're not trying to do it. You're just doing it. But think about in the past when you're like trying to follow a meal plan and you do give yourself that little bit of wiggle room. You know those like fights you have with yourself at night, like you walk into the pantry and you're like, you walk into the pantry and then you go and sit down on the couch, then you walk into the pantry again. Just, you know it's there, but you're going to go see again. And then you go and sit back down on the couch and you're negotiating with yourself. And you're fighting with yourself and you're expending all of this energy fighting with yourself, right? Whereas if it's a non-negotiable, you're going to follow the meal plan. You don't waste the energy on fighting with yourself. You have more energy for motivation to go and work out, right? So a tool that I've used, it's a Tony Robbins thing, is if you have a fitness goal for yourself, it doesn't matter if you have 50 pounds to lose or if you have 5 pounds to lose. This is a strategy that I've used a bunch of times for different areas of my life, business, fitness, etc. And it's creating your own rock bottom. Right? Most people don't change until they hit a rock bottom, until they hit a point where it's just like, I cannot go on like this. Right? So it's possible to actually create your own rock bottom and to create a situation where you feel you need to change. So this exercise that I went through with Tony Robbins was you need to write this stuff down. Like you need to write it down or else it's not real to you. It doesn't seem as serious if you're not writing it down. So if you have goals in terms of fitness for 2016, you need to write down, like, see the situation as it really is. See the situation, without making any excuses for yourself. See the situation, say, for example, for me, before I started on my fitness journey, what I would have seen as the situation is that other people see me as the chubby girl. It's a true story, okay? Other people see me as the chubby girl. And when I go into a store to try to buy clothes, it takes me forever and it's always a horrible experience because I can't really fit into anything feeling comfortable and, with the shape of my body, and like I didn't have a waist at the time. I really was shopping in order to cover up my problem areas. I wasn't shopping in order to accentuate my best features. I was shopping to cover things up, right? Also, I was a really cranky person. I was cranky. I just that's how I walked around. Really low energy, in part due to my hormonal disorders, and my moods also were due in part to my hormonal disorder. So I walked around pretty cranky and miserable with myself. Right? So see the situation as it really is, and if it's just that you have 5 pounds to lose or you want a 6-pack or whatever it is, there's nothing wrong with wanting a 6-pack despite what some people say. So if that's your situation and, you don't have a whole lot of weight to lose and it's not a dire situation, then think about what it's costing you not to make that change, right? What's it costing you to not make that change? Is it a higher energy level? Is it more confidence? Is it that you can post a six-pack on your page and get more business that way? For those who are coaches here. Whatever it is, think about what it's costing you not to change. And it's fine if some of those reasons are for vanity's sake. Like, we all care about how we look. We should care more about our energy level and our confidence and our health than we do anything else. But there's nothing wrong with wanting to look a certain way either. Okay, so once you've seen it how it is, you've seen, like an unvarnished view without making any excuses for yourself of what this situation really is. Now, like, really imagine the situation as you want it to be. Imagine that you're fitting into all the clothes that you want to fit into. You get up in the morning and you've got this like bounce in your step. You are unstoppable, right? And everybody sees you as the fit girl. Like, you're the fit friend. They come to you because you clearly know what's going on in terms of fitness because you've made progress. Whatever it is for you, like whatever you're looking for, imagine the situation as it is. For me, when I went through this exercise in terms of my fitness level, it had a lot to do with how much energy I have for my kids, to run around with them, to play with them. That was like a huge consideration for me. And I wrote in vivid detail what my fitness is going to look like in 2016. So look at like every aspect of your fitness, every aspect of your life that it's going to impact, write that down. How is it going to impact you in the bedroom? That's important stuff. Think about that too, right? And after you've done this exercise, after you've gone through this exercise and you like let yourself feel the pain of not being where you want to be, especially like, I'm just going to tell it like it is. If you've got like 20 pounds to lose or so, it is impacting your energy level and your health. I've lost 30 pounds and I know that for a fact, right? 10 years ago, I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And I have way less energy than I have now. Like I know how much it impacts life, right? So whatever it is, let yourself feel a little bit of pain and then let yourself feel what it's going to feel like when you are at your goal. Like, you will feel unstoppable. So only after you've done that should you actually create your goals and create your strategy for next year. Only after you've done that, because it's going to clarify in your mind what you need to do. And you might realize that you need to do something different than maybe what you thought you needed to do. Okay. So now in terms of like actual like cold hard sort of strategy for next year, you need to have like specific measurable goals, both short-term and long-term for 2016. Where do you want to be like 1 year from now at the end of 2016? Think about that, but then break it down into quarterly chunks. Okay. Make them specific and make them measurable. It can be in terms of like your pant size. It can be in terms of definition. It can be in terms of like pounds lost. And I would also highly recommend that they're not all based on measurements or weight or that kind of thing. I would love, and we'll talk about this a little bit in a minute, I would love to see you have performance-based goals. Because what your body can do is a better predictor of your health than your measurements and your weight, right? So have some specific and measurable performance-based goals. How many push-ups do you want to be able to do, right? How far do you want to be able to run? I want to shoot myself when I have to run, but it's good to be able to run. So make sure that you also have goals in terms of like your level of fitness. In terms of your strategy, make sure that you're more attached to the outcome than you are to the strategy. Okay? Some of you know what happened to me this year. I had an outcome. I have the same outcome But my strategy, like my hormonal profile was very healthy. When I decided that I was going to do a lot lower volume of weight training, that did not work out for me. That really did not work out for me. My hormonal profile went crazy. I gained body fat. It was not good. I went backwards. Right. And so super discouraging. However, I don't beat myself up for it. I understand what my body needs. I'm attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to the strategy I was using. The strategy I was using was easier than what I actually need to do. So it's not about I'm going to do the 21-day fix workouts only. And then if you don't get what you want out of that, you have other options. There are other things that you can do. Myself, I'm going to be doing hammer and chisel, but I will be adding, I am adding something 5 days a week, because right now for me, it's go time. I need to get my hormonal profile back in order first before anything else, right? So I'm doing doubles 5 days a week, and the days where hammer and chisel calls for cardio, I'm going to add a little bit of weight training. I enjoy Olympic lifting and powerlifting with a barbell, so I'm going to add that stuff. The days that it calls for a weight training workout, I'm going to add a bit of cardio. And I'm not going crazy every day, guys. I'm not going to do insanity every day after hammer and chisel, because I don't want my cardio to take away from the intended purpose of hammer and chisel, right? So be more attached to the outcome than you are to the strategy. Create a strategy, but know that you may have to be flexible, right? So for example, for the 21-day fix meal plan, I need to remove a purple and remove a yellow and add a green and a red and sometimes a blue. Because of the way that my body chemistry works, that just works best for me. So 21-day fix, yes, it is awesome, but I have tweaked it a little bit for my body. Okay? That's just another example of the flexibility, right? Just be flexible with it. Secondly, train for something. Don't just work out every day. Train for a specific reason, for a specific goal. You're going to work harder if you're training than if you're just working out. Okay? So whether it's an event like a Spartan race or something like that, a Spartan race is awesome because then you can post it on Facebook and you go public with that goal, and then you should totally invite friends to do it with you so that you don't chicken out, and you can't chicken out. And that also goes toward having a goal in terms of your fitness, as opposed to just having that goal surrounding what your body looks like, right? So like I was saying before, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look more fit, but I think it's detrimental to you to focus only on that. I think performance goals should be more important than what your body looks like, really. So whether it's a Spartan race or something like that, or if you're training just to hit one of your measurable goals that we were talking about in step 1, right? So for example, to be able to deadlift X number of pounds. Carly knows what I'm talking about. To be able to do X number of push-ups from the toes, to be able to have those goals in your mind when you're training, right? And you're gonna push yourself that much harder. So for example, with the hammer and chisel, it's a weight training workout. I would love for everybody, whether you're doing hammer and chisel or whatever weight training you do, I would love for everybody to have some kind of weight training in your life. I believe that every single body benefits from weight training. And if you're doing that, then it's easy to establish goals. You hit one goal and you feel like a freaking rock star, and then you set another goal and another goal and another goal. If your goals are mostly based on your level of fitness, by the end of the year, you will not believe how much fitter you're going to be than you are now, right? As opposed to just I think of it in terms of gaining. I really think about my goals in terms of gaining more so than I think about losing. So my goal is to lose body fat But more so than that, I want to be able to do more push-ups. I want to be able to, like, insanity, for example. I want to be able to like get through the entire thing without resting at some point. I want to be able to deadlift more. I want to be able to squat more. I want to be able to do a higher volume of Olympic lifting and that kind of stuff. So I want to gain in my level of fitness. And in terms of my body fat percentage, I do want to lose, but the other stuff is more important to me. Okay. So in your, like, think of yourself as an athlete. Switch your mindset. You're an athlete. You're not just working out, because you've got these goals. You've got to accomplish them. I have another goal of being able to do freestanding handstands. So freaking hard, guys. And it's really good. It's excellent core work as well. So that's another thing that is like on my list, non-negotiable. I will be able to do that. Just an idea. I'm just saying, if anybody wants to be awesome as well. I'm just going to read this. Sherry says, I heard a saying, I don't want to lose weight because I don't want to find it again. That's awesome. I've seen that too. If you are a runner or a CrossFitter, or if there's like a specific sport that you play, or, you know, I know runners are like super passionate about what they do and that's like their thing and it's like their therapy. Same with CrossFitters. I think like any of these little pockets, they kind of feel like their thing is the best thing, right? So if that's what you're training for, if that's what you do and you have like a thing like that, then train around the main event. Okay, train around the main event. If running is your thing and it's most important, your running performance is the most important thing to you in terms of your athleticism, then train around the main event. Use hammer and chisel maybe 2 or 3 days a week to strengthen your hamstrings and all of that stuff so you can run faster, right? If CrossFit is your thing, do plyo because you need flexibility, girl. But whatever, like if you have something like that, like a sport that you play or something that you compete in or something like that, like make sure that you've got your physical goals there and train around that thing. That's going to keep it fresh and keep it fun and motivating for you. Okay. Number 3, go public and get support. Go public. I really recommend making your fitness goals public. Post it. I'm serious. Post it on Facebook. Post like what you want to accomplish on Facebook, because there's no better accountability than having your whole community see what you want to accomplish. And it's super motivating and encouraging for other people to watch you make progress on that stuff, right? So go public with it. And I feel like a lot of people tell me the hardest part about their fitness journey is their family and close friends. Because family and close friends, like, they get uncomfortable when you change. That's what happens. They're not like trying to get you to eat the cinnamon bun because they hate you, right? It's because they feel uncomfortable with your change. Maybe they feel like they should be making a change as well, but they're not doing it. And maybe it makes them feel a little bit guilty that you are doing it. Or they just don't want to see you change as a person. They feel a little bit threatened that you're going to change as a person. And that often does happen. Your confidence level increases and, you know, like you do change as you get more fit. And people get really uncomfortable with that. So I would go public with your family and with your close friends, especially people who you feel like might be a little bit, you know, they might try to sabotage you a little bit, not because they hate you, but just because they feel really uncomfortable with the change. Go public with them. Talk directly to them. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's why I want to do it. I love you. And if I could have your support for this, it would mean the world to me, right? Or like if it's your significant other and they like, so often I hear challengers tell me that their significant other can eat whatever they want. You know, it's like chips and cookies every single night and like they've got a 6-pack, right? I hate those people, just for the record. But talk to your significant other as well. Like, here's what I need from you. I would really appreciate your support. It would mean everything to me if you could support me. If it's your significant other, promise them some favors in return. But do have that conversation, right? Like family, Micah likes that. Family will want to support you if you have that conversation, and they're not going to try to convince you to eat the cinnamon bun or the cookies or whatever it is. Usually, if you've had that conversation, if they know that it actually really means a lot to you and this is really important to you, right? Who knows, they may want to join you as well. And guys, seriously, when I have a family gathering with my family, I have 7 siblings, okay? And my parents cook, like my mom, she deep fries like everything. And that's her version of healthy things. Like she'll make tacos and she'll deep fry them. And she's like, look, there's lettuce on it. And my brothers and sisters, like most of them hate fitness. And I can't win. I cannot win. If I eat healthy, then there's criticism because can't you ever relax and just eat a freaking cookie? Totally, I do relax and eat cookies. Or if I'm eating unhealthy, then they make fun of me about that. Like, oh, I thought you're a fitness coach and you're eating that. Like, I get it. I understand the struggle, but I live far away from my family. So I've never had the conversation like, I really need your support. I live across the country and I only see them every so often. So when I go back home, I don't think it's worth it to have the conversation, right? But I do get it. I experience it on the regular. In fact, I was at a party last night at my girlfriend's house, and people kept making excuses for what they were eating. And I was like, no, I'm not the food police. Like, it's fine. And then really criticizing my plate, like looking at my plate. And, I get it. I totally understand. Like, people get uncomfortable when you change, or if you focus on health and fitness, especially if they're not focused on health and fitness. But do have that conversation and be prepared that some people are going to be like a little catty about it. Be prepared for it. Deal with it. Nobody will die, And I think if you're prepared for it, it's a lot easier to deal with it too, right? Number 4, track everything. If you make a mistake, if you go off the rails one day in terms of your nutrition, don't beat yourself up, because that's just going to add more emotional crap, to it. Don't beat yourself up, but do track whether you stay on plan for both your workouts and your nutrition every single day for the year. I know that seems super daunting, but once you get used to it, and this is just a part of your day, like brushing your teeth is a part of your day, it really doesn't take much time. This is the gold. This tip is the tip. It's like the one that's going to help you make the most progress in 2016. It is just like with coaching. I was looking for what the secret was that was going to make you super successful, for my first entire year. Like, what is the secret that they're not telling me? Because obviously there is something that they're not telling me. And then I was really disappointed to find out that it's just like consistency over time. I was like, dang, I wanted the secret, right? It's exactly the same thing here. If you're tracking consistently, you will learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn so much about when there's a big red X on the calendar for your nutrition, you're going to think about it like, I really didn't eat enough today. So at night, I had no self-control and I ate 14 Oreos. I did that one time. I'm not even kidding. I think it was 16 Oreos, actually. Don't worry, I posted about it on my page. But you learn so much about yourself. If you put a big red X, which you're going to hate to do, I hate it when I have to do that. Like, I want a black check mark on every single day. And when I have to put an X, it like hurts me, like in my soul, it hurts. But it makes you think about it a little bit, like what happened today? Like, why did I go off the rails? What's the deal? And you'll just learn a little bit about yourself and move on. You don't have to beat yourself up, right? And if you look at your calendar and for 5 days out of 7, you were not on plan in terms of your nutrition, maybe you're on the wrong plan. Maybe, right? It's a possibility. If you're just like, and that goes back to number 1, be more attached to the outcome than you are to the strategy, right? Maybe the strategy you're using isn't the right strategy for you. Maybe you need to find something different. Okay. So tracking in terms of nutrition, that has like truly just changed my life. And what I have and what I will post on Facebook in the files section, I'm going to post my trackers that I use. So I have an entire month, and it's just labeled like 1 through 30. I have an entire month, and every single month I will create my goals, like nutrition plan, and like it has to be measurable as well, right? If you're on the 21-day fix, for example, like you know whether or not you followed your containers for the day, right? Like, you know. If you're not using the 21-day fix plan, maybe you have a goal of 1,500 calories in the day, 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carb, which is actually very, very similar to the 21-day fix. But you need a measurable goal for your nutrition, or else like what's to say whether you get an X or a check mark, you know? Oh, well, I only had 6 cookies, not 16. I still get a check mark. No, right? So make sure that it's specific and measurable in terms of your nutrition. And I really do recommend, guys, give yourself 1 day where you don't have to, not an entire day, give yourself 1 meal per week where you don't have to follow guidelines. 1 meal per week, not a day, just 1 meal. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and recommend that you do it on a Sunday night consistently, because if you have your flex meal on a Friday night, it tends to bleed into Saturday, and then it tends to bleed into Sunday, because you're like, well, screw it. I already totally went off the rails this weekend, right? So I may as well just go for 1 more day. You know, it's true. So I think Sunday night is probably the best time that you could have that flex meal. Also, in your brain, don't call it a cheat meal, because it's not like you cheated on your husband, you know? You ate some food, right? Like you ate a cookie, or you ate 16 cookies. I don't know if you want to make that your flex meal. Like, it's not like, don't make it in your head like this horrible thing, right? You're being flexible. It's not like, it's no big deal. Okay. Okay, so track your nutrition. Make sure that your targets are specific and measurable. Give yourself 1 meal per day. And for me, for my flex meal day, I actually don't track my nutrition that day, because I know it's going to be off because of my flex meal. However, I do make sure that I have a really nutrient dense breakfast and lunch, because I know what's going to happen later. Like, it's going down later. And also I don't recommend eating sometimes I'll have challengers be like, well, I ate, I don't know, I ate tacos for dinner and I put extra sour cream on them. You know, that's not a flex meal. If you want a glass of wine or 2, Allie, or if you want a glass of wine and you want dessert, then go for it, right? Like, don't eat till you puke, but if you're hungry for chocolate and you really are craving a glass of wine, then go for it. Like, have a flex meal, be flexible, eat the things that you've been hungry for a week, and then just move on. So I don't track on those days, but it is 1 meal. It is not a day. You could pack in like thousands of extra calories in your day if you were to make it an entire day. right? I also have tracking sheets in terms of workouts. So for the month, again, I will plan my workouts, and I'll plan, what I used to do is plan 3 weight training sessions, 2 cardio sessions. Now that I've been doing doubles, I've been hitting weights and cardio 5 days a week, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I have a total of like 60 to 75 minutes per day probably for my workout. Again, like, I'm not suggesting that anybody else do that necessarily. I do it because I know that I need a higher volume of work in order to make progress. That's just my body, right? But I'm not exhausting myself by doing like insanity every day. Like, there's the hammer and chisel, and then I'll also be doing like a bit of weight training on the cardio days. It's not going to be like crazy. So I'm tracking my workouts as well. I get a check mark if I do my workouts as planned, and a big fat X if I don't. Okay, so don't, like, if you don't need to do doubles, then don't plan for doubles and give yourself an X on the calendar because you didn't do doubles. Make doubles an option, maybe, right? If you want to. But the workout plan that you set out for yourself needs to be realistic. It can't be something that, you know, on your best day when your kids are on their best behavior and nothing bad happens at work and there's no extra stress, then maybe you'll get it done. Don't make it like that. Make it something that you can realistically implement into your life. Okay. And then you get a check mark or an X, depending on whether or not you follow that plan. And it's black and white. Did you follow the plan or did you not? Did you eat 2 extra yellow containers? No, then you did not follow the plan. X, right? And then it's not a tool to criticize yourself. Again, it's a tool for you to evaluate, right? Fifth and last tip is to reward the behavior, not the results. You absolutely should reward yourself. You absolutely should celebrate if you're doing the right things. You absolutely should. But I would not tie the reward to having lost pounds or inches. I think the reward should be if you get 7 check marks on your calendar for both workouts and nutrition, you get something. You get to go get your nails done. You get to go, like, you get to buy like a cute workout t-shirt or whatever it is. It can be something really little too, you know, something like a headband or whatever. But reward, like, if you have something, a few options ready. If you get 7 check marks in both categories, then you get something. And make sure that, like, I really would think about what you're going to do in advance, because it might give you that extra little push of motivation when you're thinking about eating like Fruit Loops for dinner, right? Or something like that. I actually have like a ton of stuff planned for my treats for when I get 7 check marks in both categories. But my favorite is getting my nails done. I love going in to get my nails done, especially if you get the shellac, then it doesn't come off. It doesn't chip on, like, I have a barbell. It doesn't chip on the barbell nearly as easily. So if I get 7 this week, then I'm going to go in and get my nails done. And hard and fast rule, whatever is planned, if I don't get 7 check marks, I do not get that thing. I treat myself like a child. Okay, those are my fitness tips for next year. Like I said, I can't even stress enough that tracking is the most important one. It doesn't sound sexy, you know, it doesn't sound like, oh, this is the next big thing. But I think success in any area of your life, the methodology isn't sexy and it isn't flashy and it isn't crazy. It is consistency, right? And this is a tool that is going to help you remain consistent. And if you're not, to see why the heck not, right? Like, what's actually going on. Okay, any questions, thoughts, comments?